Hello, Isaka friends and family. Welcome to today's show. Today is a sports day show. As many of you may know, we're trying to bring in as many innovations as we can. So every Saturday we'll be having sports shows. So today we have a very wonderful guest here with us today. Just for a quick introduction, so it's Mr. Peter Chitila, based in Texas. Uh, I don't know, many of you may be familiar with him. Mr. Chitila played for the Zambia national team at the highest level. So he brings in a very unique insight about what has been going on with us with the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations, and also kind of just tap into some of the things we might be anticipating moving on forward as the tournament is progressing. So, Mr. Stila, thank you so much for your time. At the quickest notice, we appreciate you joining us. So I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys. It's always good to talk about football. That's been my life. And
Mm.
I'm very excited to be here so I can, hear some questions, some suggestions, and whatever we can talk about, concerning, the Africa Cup. Thanks for
Oh,
having me again. Yeah.
it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Maybe for those that may, I mean, I know you. I know you because I used to watch you when I was when I was young back home in Zambia. I remember you must have played with my older brother Kelvin.
Yeah. Yes, I played with Kelvin. He was at Zamshu. I
Yeah.
think, yeah. So, it was really exciting. Those are good old days, but things have changed. We've moved on, and all we gotta do is just look at what's happening and just have fun.
Oh yeah. Just remind us. When did you check out from the Zambian league? Like, and which team did you play for the
You
sake
know,
of?
I started with Power Dynamos.
Mm,
Growing up, anyway, I started with Incana. Back in the days, you start soccer at the early stage of your age. Like
mm,
below 10 years old, until then from there I moved to Power Dynamos, and that was it. I checked in a team when I was still in school. It's a long time. That's in the 90s. I think in the 80s, late 80s, that's when we played. And by 90s we already had experience. And from Power Dynamos, and I played a little bit with the Zanaco and Kana Red Devils. I played my professional football in China. I played with the national team. I'm very familiar with what's going on right now at the Africa Cup of Nations. Everything is right fresh in my mind, and I
oh,
understand what the players feel. So, like I said, it's a pleasure whenever they call me to talk about football. It's an opportunity to give back to people, to understand where we're coming from, and
right. Uh-huh. Oh, all right. We might just have lost Peter a little bit. So just give him some time. So yes, to you, our viewers, please join us, chime in, send in some questions, some comments. We're more than happy to respond. We have Mr. Chitila in the house. I hope he joins back in. Um, it's just a pleasure to kind of share ideas about what's going on with the Africa Cup, and we're so excited. So we're just hoping my Peter is able to log back in. So there's a comments from Vaisal Piri. Good evening, Saka, host family watching from. Thank you so much, Vaisal. Our goal is to kind of bridge the gap, between sports back home as well as here in the US. My name is Clement from Maryland, and please you can share the link and let other people also have an opportunity to chime in. So we're so excited. Um, yeah, just a couple of things. Many of you kind of saw what our national team you know did. I mean, they tried their best. For me personally, I think the boys did one wonder because looking at the number of players who went to play for the first time, and then we didn't have much experience in terms of Africa Cup of Nations. So I believe maybe the next two editions could actually be more impactful. So I think we just need more time for the boys. Okay. So Vapita, is back. Sorry, Vapita, we lost you a bit. I don't know what happened there.
like I said, I don't know what's going on, and it's going to be a lot of distraction. Next time, I'll do better. I'll work with my media staff over here, so nobody's going to interrupt me.
Okay, no, because I mean, with these games, we'll be pulling you in more often. So yeah, we'll play
Okay.
in advance. Yeah. So before we come to the games, I mean, you shared a little bit more interesting about Power Dynamos, because I mean, I started following soccer at a young age as well, and
Yes.
and looking at somebody playing at Power Dynamos and Kana, those were the teams that if you're able to play, then you're competitive enough. Like it was the competition
Yes.
was not fun, it was not intensive. It was more intense. If I recall very well, I think even the national team, some of those players who died from the Gabon crash, like 5 of them were from Power Dynamos, for example.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of just share with us, that level of competitiveness, because soccer has really evolved.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, those days it was really, really exciting to play soccer. It was not easy. It was a job. It was a really, really huge task. Like you just mentioned, the people that perished in the Gabon disaster. I still got fresh memories of them talking to us, trying to encourage us how to do things on the field.
Oh,
And I can still hear John Soko talking to me because he was playing number 2. Then I
uh-huh.
was his second number 2 at Power Dynamos. So,
Oh,
because they
uh-huh.
got him from Kalulush Modern Stars, but I was a youngster. So he
Uh-huh.
was like, don't be scared, just, stand up and be counted. I remember those words when he spoke to me. So I understand exactly where you coming. Because back in the days, when you feature in a team, you have to be proud of yourself. It was never easy. Just to watch the training, just to watch, the way the boys moving, everything that was done back in the
Mhm,
days. It was, from the grassroots, So
mhm.
we're gonna talk some more about that stuff. So it was really encouraging, yes.
Mm. And in your own perspective, what are some of the things that, from your own perspective, what has really changed? Why how has sort of so much evolved? Because even just playing for national team, like people are not playing for money; they're playing
Mhm.
for
The
like for
pride of the flag,
prestige.
yeah, the
Yes,
flag, yes, uh-huh.
and in your time, I think there wasn't so much money like it is right now. Even let alone having access to go play professional. But what has changed in your view? Like why are things the way they are right now?
You see, this that's a very good question because these are the things most people don't look into. You see,
Mhm,
like us living in the United States, we are blessed to be here in this country, okay? Everything starts from the grassroots, from the kindergarten age, from the children goes, to elementary kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, then college, then NFL or whatever the case is, okay?
mhm.
So the situation here in Zambia totally changed. That's how we grew up with. Back in the days, you start playing soccer at 8, 9, 10 years old. You already understand soccer because there
Mm.
was a lot of recreation parks. We go to the Freedom Park and play soccer. You go behind your houses, there's a park you playing soccer, if you remember back in the days.
Yeah.
So,
Chimpompa.
yes, it's in Pomba. Those are the
Oh, are you there? I think we kind of lost you again.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know somebody else, but what I was trying to say is we had a lot of sports in our communities to where you just behind your backyard there's people playing soccer. There's a little team there and there. So somebody who's coaching soccer back in the days was somebody who understands football. So when
Mhm.
they're grooming you really know where you're going. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Most
Mhm.
of the people that didn't even know we played with. I see Godfrey Kangwa growing up, the way he played soccer. You understand what
Oh,
I'm
wow.
saying? Yeah,
Wow.
he died in the Gabon disaster. People didn't know Godfrey Kangwa played from Coca-Cola. He was in Kitu.
Mm.
He was
Mm.
one of the best midfielders. He was young, playing at the Coca-Cola team, but you
Yeah.
could tell this person can play anywhere, but there was no opportunity to play.
Wow.
You see
So
what
it
I'm
was so
saying? There
competitive.
was players like Jolly Chambisha. I know most of the guys, it's going to be a new topic. He lived in Twibukishi.
No, it's okay.
Very
It's
talented
it's
guy.
very nice. Uh-huh.
Yes, we played with him in a community football. Then Power Dynamos used to come there and watch. That's how they took him to Power Dynamos. For
Mhm.
him just to be playing at that level, you have to be very, very good. So that's just to cut a long story short.
Mhm.
The grassroots football in Zambia does no longer exist. This is where we have a problem, and we ignored it for a long, long time. Now it's catching up with us. You
Mm.
see what I'm saying? So we can say, oh, the coach is not good. Oh, we don't have this kind of a player. You see, all those things started to catch up when firstly when the mine was gone. Okay,
Yeah.
Some of us never dreamed of playing soccer in Lusaka. We thought those cities are not soccer cities. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you remember very well,
Yeah. Hmm.
back in the days, Lusaka may have one player, Eston Mulengate national team. Lusaka may have two, three players, maybe Jones Chilengi, Laban Shala,
Hmm.
goes to Mulengate national team. The rest of the players is Copper
It's Copper
Belt
Belt.
players. Yeah,
Oh,
so back in the days when you come from Lusaka and you're in the national team, it was like a miracle. You understand what I'm saying?
yes.
So
Hmm.
that's what we forget. Though that's the problem that we have today is just catch up with us.
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying? We
Hmm.
don't have the grassroots football. When they say like we lost in a tournament, sorry, forgive me for jumping up and down.
No, no, it's okay. It's okay. Hmm.
When they say we lost, we haven't been to the Africa Cup for the past 3 episodes, which is 6 years, right?
Right, right. Uh-huh.
Whichever years. Okay. So what we're saying is those countries they kept the same system like we was doing in Zambia. We was one of the top 5 big national teams in Zambia. If you remember, we are top
Yes.
big 5.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So those countries like Botswana, back in the days when we playing Malawi, we asked the manager to get paid before we even play the game.
Wow.
Because we know
Wow.
in our back of the heads, there's
Mm.
nothing they can do to beat us.
Wow.
We're playing Tanzania, we're asking to get paid. If like you can go borrow some money because you're gonna come back with the money. That's how it was back in the days. So that anyway, coming back to reality, that grassroots level, it has completely disappeared in Zambia. We start playing soccer, we start knowing players at 17 years old, 18 years old. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and we don't know exactly how that player is going to go because if you don't have the basics from the age of 5, because that's where soccer starts,
Yeah.
from the age of 5 to the age of 12, you don't have the basics, then it's very hard to. This is what you are looking at today. If you watch the Zambia game, even anybody, even if somebody who has just been in soccer for 2 years, they could tell something is missing with the Zambia national team, right?
A lot missing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's certain basics that you know when you're a kid. So when you walk on the field, what the coaches do is coaches will coach you in practice for maybe they'll coach you the whole week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, the game day they'll give you a briefing. After that, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Coaches only contribute 5% of the 100% during the game.
Right.
Yes, so the rest is yourself. So this is where we are lacking. We have players in the national team that doesn't know what to do in a game.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
You see, while these other countries, like say, who thought Namibia would be playing a game today in the quarterfinal, in the
And they're playing
last
very well.
16?
They're playing better
You
than
see what
us.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Teams like Angola, they used to be scared to come to Zambia. People like Tanzania, they would be scared to come to. Teams like South Africa, they would be scared to come to Zambia. You see what I'm saying? But their academies, they continued. Ours stopped.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? If you drive around Lusaka today, how many soccer fields are you gonna see that are open?
All those are close. No, Mayanda.
Yes. So those little things I'm talking about, they are very, very important and they've been ignored. And guess what has happened? It has catch up with us. We have nowhere to run to. We can give 200 excuses. It's gonna take time to rebuild and get back to where. That's why people, if I know if football, people at the Football Association of Zambia, they are listening to stuff like this. I'd always keep telling them, you gotta communicate. You gotta communicate. You know what I'm saying? Because mostly football is worldwide. It's nothing. Any knowledge you get is gonna help to grow our national team because our national team is our pride. But if we're sending our national team out there, and every time we're getting a bad result, everybody is they're losing interest in Zambian football.
Right.
You and I, when we're walking, we meet a lot of international people.
Mm-hmm.
They ask you where you're from. They say you're from Zambia. They say, oh, Zambia used to be. They don't say Zambia is. They say Zambia used to be a superpower. What happened? You know what I'm saying?
And talking about this, there's something that just came to my mind as we were talking about. Even there used to be Zambia schools, for example, where secondary schools very competitive. Some players are coming from literally coming from secondary schools, Chongwe, all these provincial schools, straight into big teams and national team. But even that level is no longer there.
Yes, talking about that, let's give him a chance first. I'll get
back
to
you. Yeah. Sorry, Barafo, thank you so much for joining us today. We're just having an analysis of our Zambian game, what's going on, and you can also just provide feedback, say with what's going on right now with the Africa Cup. So please, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Thank you for having me here. I'm Raphael Harry, host of White Label American podcast and AfriGoal podcast on YouTube. So my sister Zenith invited me. I've known Zenith for some time. She's one of my big fans and my big supporters. But I was listening, I was enjoying what my big brother Peter, let me see if I can get your name correctly because I'm not Zambian. But I'm African. But Peter Chitila. Did I say it right?
Welcome.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I'm from the country that stopped you guys from winning Tunisia '94 Nations Cup. So, but that was my first time of admiring Zambia because I knew what happened in '93, the plane crash. As a kid, it was very painful seeing that happen, but at the same time, that was the beginning of the admiration of how Zambia put together a team that came back in Tunisia '94 and got to the final. And being that I was still living in Nigeria then, it was kind of like you want Nigeria to win, but at the same time, you're like, this country put a team together, and maybe it would be okay if they win. But everybody wanted Nigeria to win, so by the time Zambia will win AFCON finally. It was very good for me. I was very happy. So I've always been somebody who, like right now, I don't care if Nigeria wins today or not. My own is, it has to be an indigenous coach that wins AFCON. I always support teams that are coached by an African. But
can I ask you a question, Mr. Rafael? Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Just echoing what my older brother just alluded to the downfall of soccer in our country. And I think Nigeria is going through the same kind of phase where the Nigeria we used to know is not the Nigeria that's there right now. That cohort is there, from the coaches, Stevie Cash, like that 94 class, leading up maybe early mid 2000s. Like you guys have been struggling. So is this similar problems? Like what's I
was actually going to touch on that because as Peter rightly alluded to, grassroots is a big part of it, and then he mentioned the schools. It ties into schools. So there's something that I call the English Premier League factor. It's one of my theories that people are so blinded by the English Premier League nowadays, especially the current younger generation, that we tend to forget that. Like, if you look at the Tanzanian league right now, it's one of the biggest leagues in Africa.
Wow.
We forget that stuff like that contributes to your own economy.
Right. You're right.
We don't. I know some Africans who don't like North Africans, but they don't pay attention to the little details. Their leagues contribute to their GDP. Little things like that, like the Nigerian team, the person who scored the 2 goals against Zambia in Tunisia '94, Emmanuel Amunike, is the one that coached Tanzania to 2 AFCONs ago when they've qualified after like 30 years absence, right? He was playing in Egypt for Zamalek when he scored those 2 goals against Zambia. If they don't have, that means they had a solid league that could take players from Nigeria to Egypt, and from Egypt he moved to Sporting Lisbon. But now it's not happening. And why is it not happening? Because club is coming to Nigeria and say, "Oh, I'm coming to take a Nigerian player from the Nigerian league." Like Finidi George went straight from Sharks of Port Harcourt, my area, straight to Ajax and wins UEFA Cup and Champions League back to back. He's in the starting 11, straight from Nigerian league. It doesn't happen anymore. But we are all like, "Oh, African Footballer of the Year is Nigerian, Osimhen," and we're all celebrating that. I'm like, why can't you produce a player from your league straight into those teams? And nobody cares. It's like we're good. And there's a problem because Kanu, even JJ Okocha came out from the school system. Kanu came out from the school system. Those don't exist anymore. It's all about academies. And when you look at the academies create, they are geared towards a European style.
Right.
They are geared towards, it creates a lot of room for human trafficking. It creates a lot of room for predators to come in and promise kids, you're going to be the next star. But if you have 1,000 kids, probably only 20 will make it to the top of the top. So where do you, the 980, where do they end up? But if you have a league that produces employment, not just for the players, but for the people who are going to take care of the pitch, but for the vendors who are going to sell in the stands, for the vendors who will sell outside, for your transportation infrastructure. So it starts expanding into your country. It goes even beyond just sports. You take care of more than one thing. You take care of like 6 parts of your economy. But we haven't gone to that point of view where it's like everybody's just like, oh, I want to produce 1 star, or JJ Kocha, or I'll produce Kalusha Buwala. And then we just only focus on the brightest of the brightest stars, and then forget that for you to get to that one, you have to lose 5,000 people.
Right.
Get one. And what happens to the 4,099?
So, Mr. Rafael, I just a quick question before I come to my sister Zenith. Don't you also think, sometimes I also feel the passion itself in the players themselves. Players of those days were not playing just for money. They play for the pride of their country and just for the love of the game. Now you find that most of the young players right now, some of them are maybe going to Europe, coming to the US at a young age, and then when they sign all these lucrative contracts, you see what's going on. Good example is Onana, for example, Cameroon, where you can even see that it kind of puts more priority to Manchester because they're paying him more as opposed to his country. That level of patriotism. I don't know. Anybody else want to chime in? Senate, and then you can go to Mr. Chitila as well.
Okay, can I say something quickly? Sorry, let me just touch on that quickly. I get the point of view, but I kind of disagree on that because look at the way many people who played in the past are living now. They're not well taken care of. A lot of them, I know some of, I have a distant cousin who played for Nigeria in the past. I saw that man. He's not been looking good. It's like always depending on government. Like, hey, I'm here, sir. I'm here. So if he dare criticizes a state government, man, they're not sending you any penny. That is not a good way of living. Even though you played for the country in the past, you were as loyal as possible. You were a patriot. Yeah. So some of them have seen people like that. They've seen their uncles, their cousins, and all that. I don't blame them for wanting to get paid. Like the women footballers are even worse. They're far worse. It's even when you get to that part of it, it's even much worse. However, if an administration is doing the right thing, like there are countries that have good administrations in their federations, right? You get less of these problems. But the ones that have this, like I give you, okay, look at Stephen Keshi when he was coaching Nigeria and he qualified us for 2014 World Cup after winning the AFCON. He wasn't being paid, and he was getting paid less than any white coach that we've had, including the current white coach. Now he wins AFCON and he resigns. He should have taken the South African job, which would have paid him like almost 4 or 5 times what he was being paid. The president calls him and says, as a patriot, as a patriotic Nigerian, stay on this job. I'll call them to make sure you're being paid. And then he stays on the job. Doesn't get paid. His wife dies. A few months later, you got to bury your wife. And meanwhile, your family members will be calling you, hey, you're coach of Nigeria. My son wants to go to school. Come on, give my pay for my son's school fees. They don't know that you're not being paid. Everybody's bringing out family problems to you, and you're not being paid. You go to World Cup and come up, everybody's throwing their problems at you. Same thing is happening to the players. Mikel Obi has a podcast now, and he talks about how members should just be having children, and come and pay for my children's school fees. And he's like, you don't know what I'm going through. Nobody knows my stress. Nobody cares about all the pains. So sometimes players, they are human beings. That's the point I just want to make. That right. It's okay for, I don't support players doing what they do. Like, I'm not coming to AFCON. I want to focus on my club. Let that player go. But that's why it's important for you to have your league. to have your local infrastructure in place, so that if a player wants to say, I want to play for Europe or I want to play for a European club, then let them go. You have local players. Egyptians don't have that problem. Moroccans don't have that problem. So why is it, look at the countries that have that problem? It's only you who depends on, if you only need European-based players, then you have that problem. So
Right.
That's called the welfare of the former footballers.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to Madam Zenith, and then we'll come to you, Mr. Chitila.
Oh, hi everybody. Hi Raphael.
Hey,
hi,
how you
Mr.
doing?
Chitila.
Yeah, Dallas,
You're
Texas.
gonna hear my son. It's a Saturday and I'm home. I missed probably the better half of the conversation, so I don't know what you guys talked about prior, so I'll just sort of jump into where you are, and that's about the payment. I think I agree, and to Raphael's point, when you see in Europe, this is what drives the economy, right? So if people are paid right, then everything also falls in place. You can't have people play and then that becomes like a part-time job, and then we wonder why it's a part-time training thing, right? Because that means somebody feels like they probably might need to get another job, and this soccer thing is a part-time thing. Well, we were never going to fare well with people who make it a profession. Here and in Europe, in the US, it's a profession. You know, once you're identified and you have this skill and it's your ticket to college, maybe full scholarship, but after that, that's your job. That's your job. That's what takes care of you. It takes care of your family and takes care of your retirement as well, because you know you're only going to last for so many years, and not everybody can be a commentator, like work on ESPN. Then you've got to figure out what that money does for you following that, because when you go to college, those of you that know, that have doubled into that, you go to college and you're doing these sports programs, you really can't even take a course that you have to study really hard, because 7 days a week you are training. I tried to join a basketball because I was very athletic as a kid. And when I came to the US, one of the things I wanted to do was join a team, because I was trying to figure out what can I do, you know, to lower my costs. And I knew I had athletic ability. So I did join a team. They didn't give you much. They gave you maybe it was a community college. So they gave you maybe $500. Well, I was an international student. I was paying all these fees. But this day you're conditioning. This day you're sprinting. This day you're just doing shots. This day you're just doing one. So you can't study. So most of them come out of college with maybe mediocre degrees. Some do come out with decent degrees. So that's your lifeline. So they should get paid, and it should be decent. We shouldn't be hearing these stories that, Zambia came to Japan, but the players only got a fraction, and the people running this, the management, are the ones taking the bulk of the money. It's not okay. These are people's skills. This is their talent, and they should get paid.
Yeah, so that's motivation. You know, it's a lack of motivation. You know, everybody that does a job, they gotta be motivated one or another. So if players are not being get paid, they're not motivated. Just like Mr. Raphael said, it's all about you gotta choose the football or the business part. So when I come back to Zambia, talking about Zambia, what has happened in Zambia is, when I used to go back to Zambia, for a little holiday or something like that, I'll find somebody who was maybe 5% into football. They used to watch us practice. They used to watch us do this, okay? Then I find that man has an academy team. You understand what I'm saying? So that person has an academy team without the knowledge of soccer basics. Let me tell you one thing. Soccer, you have to have soccer basics. You can jump. And right now, like I said, a lot of players jumped the basics into competitive football. This is why we see Zambia. There's not, so the lack of soccer knowledge has come to bite us. And we want to find excuses. There's no excuse. It's because when you are in leadership, running football,
we kind of lost him a little bit there.
Most of you said
we kind of lost him. We lost him there.
Football. If you go to South Africa back in the days, you cannot play in the Zambia national team. You're done. You see how things were set up the system because we had everything we wanted in Zambia. If they said today, "Oh, Peter, you gotta go to Egypt," I'll be like, "No, I'm not going to Egypt. I'll play here." Back in the days, that's what we was. And me, when I'm playing at the national team, I'm not even thinking about. I'm thinking about how am I gonna play the game. I'm not thinking about Egypt this, Nigeria this. Sometimes I never even used to watch football because I'm one of the best. I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. Do we have that in today's football? Just like you guys alluded, it's a lot of people that's going there for the money, and it doesn't work like that. This is why we see players on the field, they don't know what to do. Can you give an excuse why Zambia failed to possess the ball against Congo?
Mr. Peter, just a quick one, and then I'll ask you a question. I'll just share with you guys an experience. So a few months ago, I was in Zambia.
I can't hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chitila. Let me know if you can't hear me.
Maybe you should refresh.
Okay, so a few months ago, I was in Zambia watching. So I went to watch a local soccer game. So
let me come out, then join again. Let me come out, then I join.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
Oh, he went out too?
No. Oh.
I thought it was Mr. Peter that was going out.
I guess both of them went out. We have to carry the show. Another point it just came to me after I finished talking about that. I think it's also the nurturing of the local leagues, like you were saying, like the local leagues. That way, like you always say, Raphael, we don't rely so much on the players playing in Europe. And that's why I promised myself actually that after this Africa Cup, I want to really follow the local teams. Like I used to when I was young and I was in Zambia. We grew up in Chilawombe, Konkola Blades fan. I still have a jersey that my dad bought for us. But I want to be able to follow them because I feel like that's important. But we should also think that, it should be valued for those local players, like you were saying. That way, in case, let's say somebody, for some reason, team obligations is unable to come, there's still a good number of people locally that you can rely on. But it goes back to the same point. They've got to be taken care of, even though they're local, But I know in our team, we have like Benedict. I know he's like Red Arrows. And, we had other teams who are in the local league, who are playing in the national team. But I guess nurturing from when they're young is very important, but I guess how it's done to Mr. Peter's point where he's saying, I guess there are people who are able to pay into academies and they jump right over, and there are kids who are just starting out like grassroots playing soccer and somehow they fall through the cracks. Nobody's seeing the talent and we're just wasting talent out there. And you have maybe people who can pay to go on academy to play on the soccer team and maybe not as talented, or I don't know.
That's the pay to play system. Sorry, go ahead, Mr.
No. Yeah, I'll just make it brief. So I'm just gonna share with you guys one experience. So a few months ago, I was in Zambia. So I went to watch Red Arrows. I think they were playing Power Dynamos at Nkrumah Stadium. So when I went there, I asked for a ticket to go into VIP. So these guys first of all, they got my money and they didn't give me the ticket. And I just noticed that I was like, so you think that, so I just left it. So when I went in there, I happened to meet a friend of mine that I played with at Chiparamba, because I came from Chiparamba Academy. A friend of mine is the goalkeeper. So it's like, you Peter, you've paid them. Like, yeah, like this is how you support the local team. And then, what he told me? Most of these people from ZAP didn't pay. They came in for free. That's a so-called VIP. Nkrumah Stadium, and I'm sure Zenith and Mr. Peter, that entire stadium, he told me, said, many of these people didn't come, didn't pay. They came in for free. So the very people who are coming to watch the games,
What's the problem?
One, they are wearing Man U jerseys, they are wearing Arsenal jerseys, and they are coming there for free and most of them were using, because it's a military team. My brother Rafa, it's a military team. Yes. So they are using, what you call practical interpret. Yes. So I was so curious. I'm like, and you expect these players to to win and bring glory to the team. Because you look in Europe, for example, get takings, jerseys in those. That's where they make money.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the problem
you don't
is.
even have to go to Europe. Just across in Tanzania, Azam, just subscribe to Azam TV on YouTube. You'll see their league looks like they've been doing in the past 5 years. They've reorganized their league. When they signed the two biggest clubs, Simba and Young Africans, when they sign star players from other countries, the way they present the players is like when Real Madrid presents a superstar.
Wow.
The fireworks, everything.
Really?
I ran into by mistake, saw it one day, and I was like, "What am I watching? I'm subscribing to this." And since then, I've been following Tanzanian League. I'm like, this is these people. They are not the best team right now, but I've seen they are laying down the groundwork. I can see it coming.
To Mr. Peter's point,
I'm like, this is what it's a fun time when you watch that crowd dancing and all that in the stadium. I'm like, wow, this is a fun time. They are packaging it. You listen to their commentators. Because people forget. Like one of the benefits that I have in life is that I saw the English Premier League before it became the behemoth that it is today.
Right.
And every commentator kept saying, this is the most exciting league in the world. When Italian league was number one, everybody knew Italian was number one. All the biggest stars in the world were in Italy. They packaged it, they sold it to you, and they told you in my neighborhood, nobody was English Premier League. Nobody wore the jerseys. Nobody liked. But now, if you are playing any match in Nigeria, Nigerians will be wearing English Premier League. All our biggest clubs are gone. Only like Shooting Stars and Enugu Rangers still exist because the states that they exist in, the state government has taken over the clubs. No private individual runs most of the clubs. Iwayawo National is gone. The owner of the man is still alive, but he's like, I don't care about football anymore. Julius Berger is one of the biggest construction companies in Nigeria. They don't care about football anymore. They gave up their club. Arab contractors still exist in Egypt. All the other clubs in Egypt still exist over 100 years. Nigeria doesn't have a club that's up to 100 years. They're all dead. And we're all wearing Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, and I'm like, you guys, we don't see what's going on here. How can you have a league?
So guys, if I may throw this to all of you, I guess, just hearing from what you are saying, I think, I guess there's an idea of there's an argument that from the admin standpoint, administration wise, and to Mr. Peter's point, which I do agree very well, ex-footballers have been disengaged. Like they've been excluded.
Yes.
So I don't know what you guys will chime in on that. Based off of these two particular points. Not engaging local players, and also even ask the fans, local fans in our countries. You go to a game, you're wearing a Chelsea jersey, you're supporting Inyimba. Are you supporting? Are you promoting your own team? It's not. And first of all, we don't even make so much money from jerseys or get takings. So, but why are people still glued to English Premier League versus local team support? And
yeah, that's just to speak on that. Here we understand when you're clouting. You understand what I'm saying? You want people to see, oh, I'm doing this. You see, most of team owners in Zambia, they used to be soccer fans. I understand you got a team, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not gonna be your job to run that team. Your affairs with that team is sponsoring the team, giving them the funds. Let the people that understands football run the teams. Because before the players go into camp, they gotta eat certain food. Like she said, when players go to practice, you haven't eaten anything. How are you gonna practice? How are you gonna put in 100%? Like he said in Tanzania, if they buy a player, it's like a show when they buy a player. You see what I'm saying? It has become an excitement. That's why now we see Tanzania going to the Africa Cup. If you watch the Africa Cup that we are watching now, you never heard of countries like Cape Verde, Guinea. Yes, all those small countries that have kept the tradition of their country, they are picking up because they haven't mixed politics and football. You see where I'm coming from? Ours, we have a lot of mixture. It's a lot of poor management. If I got money, I can have a team. then if I'm talking to this lady, her son gotta play in my team. You understand what I'm saying? Football doesn't work like that. So it gotta be people. Us, like I always like to bring back to when we played soccer at Power Dynamos, we used to have 5 coaches. We have Alex Chola on the bench. You're talking of one of the best ball controls, dribbler in the history of Zambian soccer. You have Alex Chola on the bench.
Wow.
You have Fred Mwila on the bench. Fred Mwila was the first professional player in Zambia. He was playing for Aston Villa. The Aston Villa we watched today, that's where he was playing. He was playing here in the United States the time Pele was playing here with Jomo Cosmos, the owner of South African Jomo song.
Wow.
We're talking of Fred Mwila. On top of that, you're talking about Edwin Kanyanta. You're talking about Clement Sowento Banda. That's somebody people don't know. He was the second top scorer of Zambian soccer history from Godfrey Chitila.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? We had a lot of coaches. Then Power Dynamos was affiliated to, it's at the Davis Stadium. So he was a British, like he said, like Mr. Raphael said. The European were bringing, that's why the Power Dynamo Stadium is the best in the country, is because it was built like a premiership stadium. It's a square, it's more of a square stadium to where a pitch. When you come on that pitch, it's different from other pitches. Where you don't have to have space, you think you left too much space, you got enough space, you haven't got enough space. That's why most of the teams, when they come there, we give them a little bit of a lesson of football, because number one, they are not understanding the pitch. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of small basic things that can come into a player or running of football and mess up everything. Right now, Zambia doesn't even know the problem. You understand what I'm saying? I can ask you as a point one player. See, when you're playing, we're talking random. When you're playing a match, you gotta have the utilities of certain 3 players. If I talk about, okay, let me talk about maybe Manchester United. I'm gonna say, okay, they got 3 good midfielders. Let's talk about City. Everybody talking about City. They got De Bruyne, they got Rodri, and they got Silva. You understand what I'm saying? Those 3 players is the key player everybody's gonna look for. Can you identify 3 players in the Zambia national team that can work together and change the game?
No.
Okay, so we didn't have anything like that. Did the coach notice that?
I noticed there was a problem myself. I don't know about you.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, I only have to watch a soccer game for 10, 15 minutes. And I know where that team is going.
Wow.
You see, I'll be like, okay, it's nothing. That's why sometimes if you go to my social media, I'll type before the thing happens. Yes, it's because I've already seen we're just running about. They tell us to follow the system. We're following the system, but we don't know where to pass the ball. But if me, myself, like when I played soccer at Power Dynamos, I got Agre Chiangi on this side, I got Simon Mwansa on this side, then I'm playing defensive midfield. I know when I get the ball, I'm going to give this guy because he's going to get there. You see, you have to understand it's a chemistry. Football is a chemistry. Then the coach has to come with a philosophy. Players have to follow a certain philosophy. Arsenal plays this way. Chelsea plays this way. Liverpool, they all play different way because every coach has a philosophy. So when we bring in a coach, we don't have to bring the name. You see, most of the times in Zambia, we've brought a name. We're not even understanding what the coach is doing. One of the coaches said, the former footballers, the coaches in Zambia, they don't know how to use the computer. Football is not played on a computer. He didn't last, they fired him. So they come with certain things, but they are forgetting the basic. We can identify players. I can sit on a bench, or I watch Zambia play. I call my friend Moses Shone, the assistant coach. I'm like, okay, what's going on? If he explains, I understand, because he understands exactly the same thing that I'm understanding. That's the only reason I had confidence when Zambia went to the Africa Cup, because I know Davis Piri is there. I played soccer with him. Moses Shone is there. I played soccer with him.
Okay, guys, we are running out of time. So just a quick round of 30 seconds. You know what I can propose? How about we have a part 2 of the downfall of soccer next weekend? Are you guys up for that? We can set that up. Like a full, are we good? Yeah. Let's actually build off of this, because this is a very interesting story, a very interesting kind of theme, because and then what I'm also noticing, there's a correlation between the downfall of soccer in Zambia and in Nigeria, same kind of thing.
It's all over Africa.
Yes, exactly. So let's transition this part 2 of the downfall of soccer next Saturday. We will send it. Our team will send the details. So just a quick 30 seconds. Mr. Raphael, then you go present.
Yeah, thank you again for having me here. What I'll say is, there's a saying that's quite common in Nigeria, that what you are looking for in Sokoto is in your Shokoto. Shokoto is the shorts that you are wearing. It's another name for shorts. And a lot of the time, a lot of us always like the solution is you have to cross the ocean to go and get the solution. And like Peter, my big brother, just said, a lot of the solution most of the time is right in front of you. And I need people to just realize that there are a lot of African countries doing the right thing. When it comes, if you don't like paying your local coach the money, go and get another coach from another African country. We have Pitso Mosimani, one of the best coaches from Africa. He's coaching in Dubai right now. We have Rulani in Mamelodi Sundowns. They all play fantastic African football. They have from Egypt, Morocco. Solution is all over Africa. You don't have to go and pay. I would say something that will sound controversial to Zambians. Heavy Renard is not a good coach. Avram Grant is the same school as Heavy Renard. But if you doubt me, go and bring him now. Other African countries will beat you. The competition is too high. It's too high right now. Comoros is doing great. Madagascar, they didn't qualify, but you can't beat them if you play the way Avram Grant played with Zambia. You can't beat those teams. So I'll see you guys next week.
Next week, we need to have you beat off of this, Madam Zenith.
Okay, so I don't know. Did you guys talk already about the Angola-Namibia match? Did I miss that part?
No, we did not actually. We dive much into that, because the next game has begun. Nigeria.
I have to run and go catch the next game.
Okay, we have to run. Okay, so just 10 minutes. Yeah, I always say there's a lot we have to unlearn, and part of that is the colonial mindset. I think it's just the colonial mindset that anything across the ocean is what's better and what's at home is not. And this, I feel like, spills into everything, including soccer, which is why we see that, people only care about wearing jerseys and not rocking these, local jerseys, and not even supporting the local team. Like you said, you go and have the field, doesn't even pay. It's the mindset, because it trickles into everything, and it's never going to get better if it's that way. But we have to unlearn so much and just start appreciating our own.
Thank you. Mr. Chitila.
Yeah, my last contribution to this show. First off, it's my pleasure to, be with Mr. Raphael, Mrs. Zenia. Yes.
Pleasure's all mine. Yeah. I think it's frozen again.
It's frozen again.
Yes, I got my catalog in my head. I don't have to study. I have to read. I see it every day. So it's been a pleasure talking about football. We're going to come back next week and talk some more. Hopefully it's going to help somebody.
Yes. Please, guys, next week, come with enough energy, just like today. Just like today, we had less than 40 minutes, but usually we do have we're going to have a full hour of talking. Let's dive into just Africa in general, because there's even so much corruption when we don't talk about in Africa. Some players don't want to pay to the national team to come and play from Europe. We heard Mbappe and the dad confession about that. I don't know how authentic that story is, but and then I was talking to one of my Nigerian friends who said, if you don't have a godfather in Nigeria, you can't climb up the ladder and play in the national team. I don't know how true that is.
I will tell you about that next week. I'll tell you some stories.
So let's say that for next week.
All righty.
Thank you so much,
meeting you guys. It's been a pleasure.
So we'll send you the details for next week. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.